In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your upper control arm on your Chrysler 300. It's located behind your wheel. Using a 21mm socket, we're going to remove our lug nuts. Remove your wheel. Using an 18mm socket, we're going to remove this nut for the upper control arm. I'm using a swivel as well because of this rotor's in the way. I have the suspension jacked up a little bit, and I'm going to tap right here to release this upper ball joint. Here we go. Now you can lower your jack. Now you can remove this control arm from the knuckle. If you want, you can bungee this back somewhere so you don't pull your axle out of the transmission, or you could just be gentle and leave it there. You're going to start by taking off your engine cover. It's got 4 grommets underneath, and you're just going to pull it off. We're going to remove our air box. We're going to do this one. This is the hardest one to get to. All the other ones will be similar, except they'll be a little easier. Once you've loosened that, you're going to remove this and take off the air box. Ours is supposed to be clicked in. It's broken, so just unclip it by pushing in or pushing out on this tab, and it'll come out. There's one, and there should be another one here. Now we're going to set this over here, off to the side, and continue. Let's take this out. Might as well check it while we're in there. Using a 10mm, we're going to take out this bolt. Set that to the side. And we should be able to take this out. And also move that off to the side. Using a 10mm socket, we're going to take out these 2 bolts for the coolant reservoir and just set that a little bit aside to get it out of the way. So we're just going to pick it up like this and put a piece of wood under it. Now that we have our wood between the coolant reservoir and the fender wheel well, we're going to take out this nut using an 18mm socket and a swivel. You're going to want to remove this cover so you can see what you're doing. It's just a cover for the master cylinder area. And then you're going to reach down, and I already have my ratchet and socket on, but you're going to put it on that nut and you're going to break it free. We're going to use an 18mm socket. I'm using a short socket and a ratchet that has like a tilt on it. Now you can remove the nut and push through that bolt with your finger. Take off your cover, and we're going to remove these 3 nuts. Remove your speed sensor from the little plastic bracket near the brake line to allow more length in the speed sensor wire. Then you're going to put a pry bar on your lower control arm and pry down. And when you pry down, you're going to lower that spring strut assembly down in order to get it out of the holes on the top. That's going to give you enough clearance to get these bolts out. If you want, you can keep your pry bar in between the space here, between the cat and the strut. while you have your fingers behind you. I'm going to move your control arm a little bit and try to get the second bolt out. It might be easier once you get it started to get your pry bar up there and just push this out of the way, using a pry bar between that stud and getting these guys out of the hole. Now you can get the other bolt out. Now you can take out your other bolt and remove your control arm. Make sure you remove this plastic cover. So you're going to slide your control arm in place. Line up your control arm and get your bolt started going through. Once you get it started on that end, you got to hold off and do the other side. To get this other side in, it's a lot easier if you put a punch through the top. So under the hood, put a punch through, and then you can find the hole a little easier with your bolt that way. Make sure you put your bolt all the way through, and this tab is past this part of the bracket on both sides. Now we can put these studs back in those 3 holes. At this point, if you're having trouble getting your strut back in place, you're going to put a pry bar in here, away from the studs, and then use a rubber mallet and just tap it in. Pull it while you're pulling down. All right, so you're going to use your pry bar below and underneath to line up your 3 studs. Now you're going to thread on your nuts. You might only be able to get 2 at first. Once you tighten those up a little bit, you'll be able to get the other one. Now that these are snug, when we're at ride height, we'll be torquing those. Now you're going to put your nut on this bolt. And put the nut on the other side as well. Snug these up, do the other side too. We're going to want to put this in the knuckle first before tightening your nuts for the upper control arm under the hood. So at this point, we're going to pry down on this. At this point, you can also take your bungee cord out that was holding your knuckle upright and pry down on this, and it should come through, and then you can start the nut. Now we're going to tighten that down. Jack your suspension up to ride height. Torque this nut to 35 foot-pounds. Torque this nut to 55 foot-pounds. Do the same on the other side. So now you can try to get your torque wrench in here to torque this nut. If you can't, do your best you can. You just torque the other one to 55 foot-pounds, so you know how it feels, how tight it should go. We're going to torque these to 20 foot-pounds. Let's put our strut cap back on. Let's put our master cylinder cover back on. Take that wood out of here and you can put your coolant reservoir back. It should just plop into place. Get these hands started. Now we're going to install our air box. Put this down first. Make sure you fit it over this cylinder over here and line up your bolt. Get the bolt started. Tighten it down. Now we're going to put our air filter back. Make sure it's this side down. And I'm going to reinstall our air box cover. You want to feed it through here first, make it easier for yourself. Push it in, make sure it's lined up there. Put the back end in first. And once it's in, you're going to snap it into place. Again, ours is broken, but there should be 2 places to snap it into. Let's tighten down our hose clamp. Make sure it's snug. Let's put our engine cover back on. We're going to line up these 4 with this, 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 and that one. Once we're lined up, we're going to press down and push it in. Now you can lower your suspension down and remove your jack. Now that everything's back to normal and you've torqued everything down, make sure you check your work and put your speed sensor back in the bracket if you did take it out. And if it came unattached in the back here, you can put that back in too. Put your wheel on. Start your lug nuts. Using a 21mm socket, we're going to tighten up our lug nuts. I usually start in the bottom and walk the wheel on. Now you're going to go in a star-like pattern, tightening them up. We're going to torque our wheels with a 21mm socket to 110 foot-pounds. We're going to do that in a star-like pattern.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.